hope my internet holds up tonight. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. How are you ladies doing tonight? How's your weekend going?
Good.
Pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, before we get started, I just want to say that in the description box, I have both of your channels and both of your Instagrams linked. And then I also want to say that I usually do these the last Sunday of every single month, but this is my last one for now until the end of the summer. So I'm not going to have a reading wrap up for June or July, but I will be back in August with a whole bunch of new people, which I'm really excited about. I do a big end of summer kind of blowout bash. So I usually have like 5 other people on with me. And I'm trying to think, I don't think I've had any of them on my channel before. So I'm very excited about it. But I'm excited to have you ladies too. So do you want to do some introductions? Like maybe you say your name, your channel, what you like to read, that sort of stuff. Anything else you want to say or, whatever. Who wants to go first?
I can go.
Okay.
So hi, my name is Lena. My channel is Lena's Bookshelf. That's also my Instagram handle. And I read mainly thrillers and historical fiction, but I also dabble in romance. I like psychology nonfiction. I like memoirs and a little bit of horror thrown in there. So I read a wide variety of things, but I would say about 75% of what I read is either thriller or historical fiction, like 1900s historical fiction, not
Right.
like
not like Haven.
right. Right. And yeah, I'm excited to be here. I've been on a couple of these before, so I always love doing these. It's a great way to kind of like wrap up the month, and I kind of use this as like kind of my cutoff. And so now the next couple of days I can just kind of like listen to podcasts and catch up on TV shows and things like that, and not be worried about like cramming more books in.
Yeah, nice. What about you, Keisha?
Yeah. Hey, my name is Keisha. I'm from the channel A Book Like You. And I also read a little bit of everything, but it just depends on the month, because mood reader. But I do think it's kind of reined into like thrillers, romance. I read a lot of spooky middle grade, different things like that. But yeah, I'm also excited to be here. It's always fun to be on these live shows. So
Yeah, I love talking about the books with my friends, but I also love the games that I have planned. That's like also, I think it's just like fun to hang out with friends and like play bookish games and, do stuff like that. So, hi, my name is Gwen. You're on my channel, Gwendolyn Kensinger. My Instagram, though, is Lavender Mud. Long story short, I just wanted to put something together like clean and, bright and happy with something like dirty and not. So, Lavender Mud. There you go. That's how I got my Instagram name. I get asked so often, like, how did you come up with this name? That's how I came up with it. And do you ladies do like typical, like traditional monthly wrap ups on your channel? And when do you usually post those?
Yeah, I do monthly wrap ups. I also do TBRs most of the time as well. And when I post them, I try to get them up, a couple days like after the end of the month, but I think I've posted one as late as the 15th of the next month. So, and people still watched it. So it's fine whenever I get to it.
Yeah.
yeah, I also post wrap ups, and typically I'll post the next month's TBR before I do the wrap up because I'm just so excited to get that out. And I may also be cramming, to get my books read by the end of the month. So I try to do it like the week after, like the following week after my TBR videos at the start of the month. So it just kind of depends.
Yeah. And I do not. This is my wrap up. But I do like individual book reviews for every single book I read over on my Patreon, which is always linked down in the description box as well. So I literally mini reviews for all of the books, sometimes not many, sometimes they're longer. It just depends how much I have to say. But I also do seasonal wrap ups of my 5-star reads. So, all right, let's see who's here. Brandon, of course, is here. Yep, we read a lot. So, also, we're going to go through the books that we read in just a minute. We'll tell you all of the books that we read, and I want you to keep them in mind as we go through them because I'm going to have you guys, the audience, guess which book was our favorite and maybe which was our least favorite, and then we'll reveal. And you get like a pat on the back, if you got it right. So, hello, Nicole. Hey, Jessie. Excited to spend my Sunday night with you three lovely ladies. Oh, hello. So, I'm so happy you're here. Lena's always got the wine. She's like, live show means wine. Hello, Kate. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. Cool. So great reading weather, but so looking forward to beach reads. You know what, Kate? I live at the beach, pretty close to the beach, not like on the beach, but like pretty close, And we have had the crappiest weather this weekend. I was telling Lena before we went live, it's been like overcast, cold, and rainy pretty much for a week solid. There have been like musical events canceled, like rooftop bar, like grand openings canceled, nightclub cancellation. Like it's just crazy here because we have gotten so much rain. But it's supposed to start getting warmer again on Tuesday. So I'm like, well, I'll just go to the beach when everybody's back at work. That would be awesome. So that's my plan. How's the weather been for you guys?
It's been good.
It's been great here.
Yeah. Like sunny and like the 70s or like low 80s. So it's been nice.
Yeah, that sounds nice. Not so much here. It's kind of freezing over here at the beach. So
crazy because you only live 4 hours from me, and like we've had a great weekend. It's been sunny and beautiful.
I know, but Rachel, Jesse's friend Rachel, she's also a night out. She was in the Outer Banks and she was even complaining how the weather has just been kind of like, not that great.
Oh,
so I'm
man.
like, I know. Cheers, Lena.
Cheers.
These live shows are my favorite. I look forward to these each month. Hello, Angel. Excited to hear your wrap-ups. Yay, I'm so glad you like the games, Marsha. Well, I do have 3 different games this month. But before we get into that, is there anything that you're still reading that you're going to be taking past today that you're still working on that you won't necessarily be talking about tonight?
I think the only thing that I have is I think the dystopian readathon I think starts tomorrow, and so I am going to probably start the ferryman. I'm a little scared. I'm scared, but I have a plane ride, so I'm hoping that I can get a good chunk of it done on my plane ride. So.
I know you saw some negative reviews or some low, but I saw like lately I have been seeing some awesome reviews for it, so I'm really excited. When I say I started this book, I mean like I've read 20 pages. It's called We Love to Entertain. So I'm only 20 pages in, so I can't even tell you what the book's about really, but yeah, I'll be reading that. Hopefully finishing it before June officially starts. What about you, Keisha?
I'm not currently in the middle of everything. I wanted to make sure everything was wrapped up before this. I did have plans. If you hear squeaking, Jovi decides that if I'm sitting on the floor, she's going to play. Stop, Jovi. So I had planned to do like a secret vlog and start it this week, but I am scrapping that probably. So I don't know if I'll read anything before the end of the month or not. We'll see. So as of right now, no.
Well, that's kind of nice to be free and clear.
Mhm.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Rain and wind in this part of Virginia. Yep, all day for me. Part of Virginia has been trashed this weekend. Hello, summer. As far as weather. Yeah, I'm in Virginia, but from country, so I'm jelly for those that live in Virginia Beach. Yeah. Not this weekend. It's beautiful weather in Pittsburgh this weekend. Also, excited to hear about your reads. Free Jovi, let her be.
She's over there getting in her toys. So.
Oh my goodness.
No Jovies were harmed.
No.
Okay, who would like to go through the books that they read this month first?
I'll go.
Okay. All right. Remember, guys, you're paying attention to her books because, you're going to try to guess what her favorite and
we're
least
just
favorite
saying like the
reads.
names.
Yeah, just the names, the titles,
Okay. All right. So I read.
Maybe what you read it for or whatever.
Okay. So at the beginning of the month, I host a spooky middle grade readathon called Bookathon. And so for that, I read The Legend of Skeleton Man by 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔.
I like that cover.
Yeah, it's really spooky. And then I read Bunnicula, the graphic novel, which is based on the original graphic novel by James and Deborah Howe, but this one is done by Andrew Donkin and James Howe. And I am not going to say anything about that because I forgot. I was like, Cat's Cradle by Jo Rue, which is also a graphic novel. Disappearing House by Ali Malinenko. What Lives in the Woods by Lindsay Curry.
Which also on Keisha's channel, she did a whole book discussion for this book with the ladies that hosted Bookathon with her, and the author hopped on and chatted with them as well. So if you
so
did
cool.
not see that, you need to hop over to her channel, subscribe, and watch that video.
Oh, thanks. And then I read Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, which prompted me to also reread Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren.
Even though you're not supposed to read them back to back.
I just was like, well, I've already read Love and Other Words. So I was like, it doesn't count. Which also prompted me to reread another book randomly that I'd already read, Poison for Breakfast by Lemony Snicket.
Another beautiful cover.
Yeah. And then I read On Spine of Death by Tamara Berry. This is the second book in the By the Book mystery series. That's a cozy mystery. And then I read What's Up Beanie by Alina Tasso, which is just a little like relatable comic graphic novel thing. So.
Okay, awesome. Hope popped on. Hey, Hope. Keisha's a rebel. Yes, she is. All right. What about you, Lena? What'd you read this month?
All right. So some of them I have like just the picture of. So I read You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. And I read this for Jesse's book discussion for the Sleep When I'm Dead book club. And then after that, I'll go back to my Goodreads. Then I read, they're all out of order here, Happy Place by Emily Henry. And then I read Set on You by Amy Leah. And then I read, this is called Rumination. It's Learn to Overcome Destructive Thoughts and Think Positively by Lana Ochoa. And I read that on Kindle Unlimited. And then I read The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. And then after that, I read Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. And then I read The Lost Summers of Newport by Beatrice Williams, Lauren Willig, and Karen White. And I read this because this is the book discussion for Gwen's podcast. So tune in June for that episode where we talk about it.
It's going to be a good one, y'all. June 19th.
And then I read Lone Women by Victor LaVale.
Okay.
And then I read Break Free from Intrusive Thoughts, an evidence-based guide for managing fear and finding peace. So now you kind of see what my mental health was like in May based on what I was reading. And then I read High Wire by 𝒂𝒏. I finished this today. And then I also finished today 100 Summers by Beatrice Williams.
I love that cover. So pretty.
Yes. Very summery.
Yeah, that's awesome. So someone wants to know, what was your total books? Oh, you're muted, I think.
I was going to say, I'm glad that she asked because, like, I forgot 2 books.
Okay, go ahead.
So, because I don't, like, physically own them, this was an ARC that I read. It's The Faint of Heart by Carrie Lynn Wilson.
It's a graphic novel, right?
It's a graphic novel. And the other one that I read, which I just listened to the audio on Libby, was Doll Bones by Holly Black. And my total number of books was 12.
And what was your total, Lena?
11.
Okay, nice. And then Jess popped in. Hello.
Hey.
Okay, so mine are in reverse order because I stack them on my desk and I just keep stacking them up. So we're starting at the last book I finished, going to the first book that I read this month. So in reverse order, I have a big stack, y'all. Look.
Oh my goodness. Of course you do.
Always.
I read some big books this month. Okay, I know Jesse's going to ask. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 16 books. Okay, so the last book that I read this month is 20th Anniversary Screening by Jeff Strand. It's super thin. It's like 100-page novella, but it's a slasher. I read Don't Go Down There by 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒂𝒔, which Jessie sent this to me, and she just did it just because. It says, just because, thanks for being my bestie, hashtag pioneer for life. And I love that she sent me this one because she read it and rated it 5 stars. And this was the book that was announced on my podcast. Like nobody knew. She like broke news that this was going to be her next release on my podcast
That's so
episode.
cool.
So that's another reason why Jessie made sure I had that in paperback. I also read Paradise Club by Tim Meyer, which is a slasher. I read Sourdough by Robin Sloan, just because this was one of the 23 books I want to read in 2023. I also read The Lost Summers of Newport by Team W for my podcast episode, June 19th with Lena. I also read The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green, which Keisha sent me for Christmas. And this is a collection of essays, like over 50 essays. I read The Royals Next Door by Karina Hall or Halley. And this was another 23 books I want to read in 2023. I read The Half Moon by Mary Beth Keane because it was my book of the month book. It was one of my most anticipated books of the year because I really enjoyed Ask Again Yes by this author. And then I did my sci-fi vlog, which included Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, which is like makes up for the small books that I read this month. And then On a Sunbeam, which is a graphic novel by Tilly Walden, but it's also over 500 pages. So let's take a moment for the big books this month. And I also read Do You Dream of Terra 2 by Temi O, which is another chunky, over 500 pages science fiction novel that I read. And then I buddy read The Rehearsals by Annette Christie with Jessie this month. I read for her book club, Sleep When I'm Dead book club. I read You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. And then I participated in Bookathon and read Dark Waters by Catherine Arden. This is the 3rd book in the Small Spaces Quartet. I also read The Clackety, which is the 1st book in a series. And then I read Spirit Hunters by Ellen O, which is a book that Keisha read for the last fall edition of Bookathon, round of Bookathon, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And she sent this to me for my birthday because she didn't want to have it in her house anymore. And I completely understand why. So that was actually the 1st book that I read. So I read a lot of books. Now it's time for us to guess and for the audience to guess what was our least favorite book and our favorite book of the month. So good luck remembering all of the books. Do you ladies have any guess? We'll start with Keisha. She shared her books first. So we'll guess least favorite book for Keisha and favorite book for Keisha. Least favorite.
I'm trying. I feel like Bookathon it seems so long ago. So I'm trying to think back to like both of your vlogs, but it seems like it was so long ago.
Yeah.
Let's see.
If it helps, I'm trying to figure out which one my favorite is.
Oh no, I think I know which one's your favorite.
I feel like you didn't enjoy Cat's Cradle.
Okay.
I feel like I remember that.
Okay, so Jennifer says favorite, Spine of Death. And then Jessie said Every Summer After, which I bet is what she's deciding between. Least favorite. I'm going to go with The Faint of Heart by Carrie Lynn Wilson. The graphic novel, that one, yeah. Is that your least favorite?
It was 2 stars. I was really excited about it. I got an advanced reader copy of it, and it was like essentially about this girl who kept her heart in a world that everybody removed their heart so they didn't have to feel all the things. And she kept hers, and it was just a really interesting concept. I thought it was going to go really deep with that concept, and it didn't go as deep as I would have liked, which probably is because it's a graphic novel and not an actual full-length novel. But so it was just a little disappointing, and it was just okay. So yeah. 2 stars.
Okay, now we have to guess our favorite. Most people, we have Love and Other Words, Every Summer After, Spine of Death.
Y'all, this
I
is
think
hard
it's
for
on Sign
me.
of Death.
I think I'm gonna
That
go.
too.
I think it's a tie, honestly, between
Can I have
every.
a tie?
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be a tie between On Spine of Death and Every
Yeah.
Summer After. She can't choose.
It's hard because they're different. Like this is a
Genres.
cozy,
Mhm.
and I gave this 5 stars, and this is a romance, and I only gave it 4.5 because like I dropped it down because of the end. But I love both of them. Like I had such a good time reading this, and then I put this one down in April, and then picked it back up this month, and still loved it even after all that time. So it's like it has to be a tie. You know, I
But
can't pick.
technically, did you hear the ratings? One was a 5
Yeah.
star and one was
But
a
it's
4. So
different
technically,
genres.
I
So
know,
technically,
but
I won.
technically, On Spine of Death is the
You
winner,
can
y'all.
have it. You can have it because
So
of the
technically,
ratings.
I
But I
win.
just
I
it's
said a
hard.
tie. I said a tie, but I'm saying
You
for the
both win.
people out there that said On Spine of Death. All right, now for Lena's favorite and least favorite. Whoo! I'm gonna say your least favorite. Everybody guess what Lena's
Gwen
least
knows.
favorite was.
Yeah, Gwen knows what my least favorite is. Probably.
like,
I have
I don't
not
know.
shut up about it.
Maybe I should give him a minute. Okay, here's Brandon's guess. For Lena, she's torn between You Shouldn't Have Come Here and Happy Place. Lena's favorite, Yours Truly. Lena's favorite, Yours Truly. Least favorite, Happy Place. Okay. I'm going to guess your least favorite as Happy Place.
Well, I feel like that's a giveaway, so I feel like I should guess that too. Because if you feel like you know, because I was thinking like you shouldn't have come here, honestly. So I'll just say that because that was my
Okay.
initial gut.
Okay. So what was your least favorite?
My least favorite was Happy Place, and so anybody who saw my romance reading vlog, you know that this honestly made me angry, and nope, hard pass, and I could not shut up about this book because I was really sad I didn't like it because it's super hyped, but you know what, I just didn't like it, and so I'm sorry.
Yeah,
if
I'm just
this is your
letting
favorite
the
book.
viewers know they only heard half of your thoughts, honestly, though.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there was a lot of my thoughts that I cut out of that vlog. I was like, I cannot say this.
Okay, now as far as favorite, you had some nonfiction in there, and I don't really know. I would say you probably wouldn't rate those as like your favorite. I don't know.
I'm just gonna pick Yours Truly because I don't know.
That's
and
what
I feel
I'm
like
gonna
that's a
go
good
with.
bet,
I'm gonna go
so-
with Yours Truly.
Yep.
Yay!
Yep. This is the only book that I gave 5 stars this month.
You got it right, Brandon. Yours favorite. Yeah. Okay. Now we're down to mine. What was my least favorite book this month? Oh, I know.
Gosh, I feel like as much as I talk to you, I should know this. That's
Is
makes
On
me
a
feel so
Sunbeam?
awful.
Is that the graphic novel?
Yep.
All right, I'm going with that as your least favorite.
Okay.
On a Sunbeam, yeah, I'm going to go with that as your least favorite.
Okay.
I'm tagging on the back of Lena for that one.
Okay. All right. Let's see. And John Green for fave, then Sunbeam for least. Yours are
agree
more
with that.
obscure books. I can't remember them. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Least favorite was the sci-fi graphic novel. Ditto what Jessie said. I think your favorite Project Hail Mary. Okay, trying to remember everyone's vlogs. I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so my least favorite was On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. I just feel like, I mean, I left it unrated because I basically hate read it. I mean, I realized like this far in, I was like, I don't like this, but I was flying through it. So I was like, let me just finish it for the vlog. But if I wasn't going to say that one, because I like didn't technically rate it, I also really did not like.
That was going to be my next guess.
It was really sad. I mean, I loved the writing. The characters were okay. But like the situation, big no for me. Okay, now what was my favorite?
The Anthropocene.
Okay.
I remember talking to you about that, so I'm confident.
Yeah.
I think I only had 2 5 stars this month. Let me double check. No, I had 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I had 3 5-star reads this month. One of my 5-star reads was Spirit Hunters by L&O, but I usually don't pick middle grade because I don't read a lot of middle grade, so I feel like I don't have like skin in the game there. But yes, my favorite book was this, surprisingly, a
Yay.
nonfiction. It was just so well written. Like every essay was about something like totally obscure, and you're thinking like, do I even really care about this? Yes. John Green makes you care, and he read the audiobook, so it was like even better. And it was just like every story I felt like he had a personal connection to, or he was personally interested in it, and you can just tell he's a good storyteller. So like pick it up if you haven't. It's got some weird subjects in there, like talking about grass, talking about the QWERTY keyboard, talking about penguins in Madagascar, talking about like all this weird stuff, but you'll end up liking it. So yes,
I feel like that book got really bad reviews when it first came out because people who love like the John Green YA books, like were just like, oh yeah, he's an auto-buy author, let me just get it. And it's just so different from all of those. So I feel like initially it got really bad reviews, and then now it's kind of finding its audience.
Yeah, because I could see that if you're expecting like a YA fiction story that it wouldn't be that good, but I mean, it's just so interesting, and you can tell a lot of research went into it as well, because in the back, so you read all of these essays, and then in the back, in the notes section, he has more information about each one. So, and it's all kind of connected to like us as people, us as like just the planet Earth, and things from like Diet Dr. Pepper to scratch and sniff stickers to velociraptors, cave paintings, Halley's Comet. And then he rates all of these things. So it's kind of funny as well. So highly recommend if anybody's looking for a nonfiction to try out, and it's short, and I recommend the audiobook. So hello, welcome to the Reading Wrap-Up Live Show. Hello.
Hi.
I would feel honored if it wasn't my book club, but I know it ain't.
No, not it.
Yeah, but for me, I also rated that 5 stars. So that was my third 5-star book this month. So those were my 3 5 stars. So it was the Spirit Hunters, You Should Have Come Here, and this one. They were all 5 stars for me. So I love when I have multiple 5 stars in a month. Okay. Moving on to some of our games. The first game that I brought from like another episode was when we did the bucket list. So I say like a spring bucket list item, and then you name a book that you think fits that vibe. And of course, in the audience, I want you to also tell us a book that you think fits the vibe for these summer bucket list items. And I was just letting them know it doesn't have to be books that we read this month. That would be impossible. It could just be any book you read ever. So the first item is to bake a seasonal pie. So what did you guys choose for bake a seasonal pie?
Lena, you can go.
Okay. All right. So this one, if you know, you know, and it's The Help.
Oh,
so if you've read The Help or you know the movie,
I know.
You know, like that was my.
I love that answer.
Oh no.
Seasonal pie, if you know, you know.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I mean, that can't be topped. I don't want to go now.
Jessie says Battle Royale. That's what
mine.
Keisha chose.
It made the most sense because it's literally a baking graphic novel and it has different recipes. So.
City Baker's Guide to Country Living. Oh my gosh.
Perfect.
And he was going to say that. Well, mine is The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. Not necessarily a spring book, but one that I recommend you read this winter. But it's about these 2 twins that like swap lives. They're both like, one's like a chef on a reality show, I think, and one like works in her family's bakery. So I figured they're baking pies there. So that's my answer. Ooh, Love Light Farms 3.
Oh.
The pie and the help is the best.
I feel like anybody that hasn't read that is now going to want to read it just because they don't know.
They're going to be like, what is happening? Okay, the next one is Fly a Kite. And for this, you'll have to tell me how you interpreted this. I'll go first. So I just thought I wanted to pick a book that was like breezy and light, not too serious. That's what I went with. So I went with, and I actually had a hard time because I was like, a lot of my books have like death and dying and like serious issues. So I was like, let me choose this one. What about serial killers? No. Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I did think it was light and fun, kind of poking fun at this girl that's obsessed with serial killers and thinking everybody she sees is a serial killer. So that's the best I could come up with, honestly, y'all.
All right, mine, the way I interpret this is so different.
Tell me how you interpreted it.
It's all going to be different, I bet.
So I was thinking kite, and then I was thinking wind, and then I was thinking sky, because I couldn't figure out anything that I could think of that I've read that had to do with a kite. And then I was like, wind, I couldn't think of anything. But sky, so I picked Falling by C.J.
I love it.
But hey, you know, that's a
really
good
obscure.
book. But that's a good book.
But it is a good book. But yeah, so, you know, kites are in the sky, so are planes. So that's
There
some
you
of mine
go.
are really
love
obscure.
Okay, mine is also obscure, but when I think about flying a kite, I think about my childhood. So like nostalgic for me. That's how I tied it in. So that's also crazy. But the one that I picked for this is Peculiar Woods by Andres Colmenares. This is a new graphic novel. It's middle grade, but the reason it's nostalgic for me is because if you look, there's like inanimate objects that are animated. This is a chair. I know it looks like toast, but it's a chair. It has legs and a blankie, and it reminds me of the Brave Little Toaster, and I love it so much. So this is like my kite
yay.
book because it's like nostalgic. So
And this is a good answer. The Kite Runner, which I read in college.
Oh.
I don't have a copy of
Hilarious.
it. I was trying to do books that I have physical copies of so I could like hold them up.
I literally bought this to hold up, but I loved it too, so I had to.
I love that. But yeah, the Kite Runner. Good answer. Okay, next bucket list item is to go berry picking. Okay, I guess I'll go first again. So I chose this as like a date activity that these two characters would go on to go berry picking. And I'm choosing X's and O's by Amy Lee because I feel like why? Why are you laughing, Lena? Is this the same book you picked? Is it?
That's hilarious.
I just think
Tell me why you picked it though.
No, but I just thought that they would go berry picking together.
You want to know why I picked it?
Why?
Because she eats a strawberry Pop-Tart.
That's perfect.
Really
But
is.
yeah, I thought that they would go berry picking together. All right, what's yours,
Okay.
Keisha?
Okay, I need to skip this one because I'm using one book to fill the next two.
Okay.
So I'll combine.
Okay. The next one, let's see. Did anybody have one for berry picking? Let's see.
Oh, Hunger Games. Summer said Hunger
Going
Games.
for the
That's a good
nostalgic and
one.
silly, non-serious, I would say Goosebumps. And then Hunger Games.
That's a
That's a
diabolical
good
pick,
one,
I
That's
think.
Summer. That's a good one. Okay. Let's see. The next one is have a picnic. One of my favorite springtime activities. Oh, here's one. Wind in the Willows.
Mm.
That's hilarious with X's and O's. Not really maybe Kiss Her Once for me. Okay. So picnic. Do you want to go first this time, Keisha?
Yeah, since this is gonna cover my berry picking and picnic because I was struggling because I overanalyze everything. So this isn't overanalyzed though, but I just thought this would work. So I picked Just Another Love Song by Carrie Winfrey. So this is like a small town Southern romance, and I feel like if anybody's going berry picking, I'm not saying people in the North don't, but in my mind, in
It's
the
a Southern
South,
thing.
it's like if you go berry picking and picnics, like I feel like these characters would do that because they just live such simple lives originally. The male in this, he ends up becoming a country music artist. And so obviously his life is not as simple, but he comes back home and it's like a second chance romance, childhood friends to lovers type trope. and it is literally the epitome of like my hometown romanticized. So I had to like throw that in there somewhere. And I
I
was like, oh,
love
this
that.
works. And this is the color of a berry. It could be, right? It's a berry
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
So that works too.
All
And
right. What did you say for have a picnic, Lena?
So I picked The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger. Not only does it kind of look like, you have like a little thermos there and the little blanket, but in this, it's about a man who time travels, and he often time travels into this field behind this girl's house. And he's able to like tell her when he's going to time travel, because sometimes he shows up and he's like 40, other times he shows up and he's like 16. So she kind of like knows and can plan for it. So she always plans to have like clothes for him and food, because he time travels and he doesn't take anything with him. So they have multiple like picnic type things in the field.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
that's good.
And then Jesse said for berry picking, Alexis and Daniel from Part of Your World would go berry picking. I agree. For my picnic, I chose, if I can reach it, The Bodyguard by Catherine Center, another date activity. And plus, I feel like the colors of this look like fruits that you would have on a picnic, even though they're flowers, and all along the back too. But it's about her being a bodyguard for him because he has a stalker. So I really liked the romance, and I figured like they actually go to his parents' Texas ranch, and I figured like out in the field they would have a picnic for sure. And a picnic, Jesse says. Someone else was going to say Part of Your World. All right. The next prompt is plant a garden. I have a good one for this. I went with The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna because of the wheat fields. It's the only one that I was like, they actually do have. I mean, it's not technically a garden; it's like crops, but like this is a good answer because it talks about like wheat and like the Dust Bowl era. But then when she goes out west to California, she ends up picking like cotton and stuff like that. So they definitely planted lots of gardens.
I said for this one, The Girls in the Garden by Lisa Jewell. I don't have a copy anymore. I read this in like 2016 or something, but it's about like a block party in this rich neighborhood in London, and then they find a girl dead in a garden. So
yeah.
I chose The Secret Garden on 81st Street because I could have just said The Secret Garden, which is one of my faves. But so is this one. It's like a modern retelling of The Secret Garden, and it's set in New York City, and they do like a terrace garden in this one, and it's just really cute and great anxiety rep too. So it's just a fave.
Yay. All right. Jess says, I reread The Kite Runner and it's such an impactful story, but there are some trigger warnings, but I feel a book everyone should read in their lives. Yep.
Yeah,
that's what my college English teacher thought. So that's
I've never read
it. And then a picnic, you would say cackle. Alrighty. And The Sprite and the Gardener. Yeah. For the graphic novel, that would be cute. Okay. The next prompt is attend a baseball game. I didn't put anything for this one because I didn't have any physical copies of the book. So,
well, I decided that I was thinking of like baseball terms because I didn't have any books with like baseball players or like sports romances or anything like that. So I was like, okay, this book was like hit it out of the park. This is a home run book. So I just did that, and it's The Story Life of AJ Thickery. So
I
like
love
this
that.
is a home run for me. And it was also like sometimes home runs are unexpected surprises. You don't know if you're going to get a home run. And so that was kind of why I chose this one. I love this one so much. Like I could gush about
Such
it
a good
forever.
book. Such a good book. Read The Secret Garden and Housemaid of the Spanish Non-Speaking Gardener. Okay. Still need to read that book, y'all. All right. What did you say for that one, Lena?
So I said 100 Summers by Beatrice Williams, which I also read this month. And this is the first thing I thought of when I saw that, because in this book, one of the characters is a shortstop for the Yankees. And they're at a bar, and somebody stops him and is like, hey, aren't you the shortstop for the Yankees? And he said, yeah, I am. Like, are you a fan? And he said, no, brother, I'm a Red Sox fan. And then he punches him.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just a really funny scene. So it's the first thing that I thought of.
That
I
is
love that.
funny. And Jesse said either the proposal or the bromance book club. Both books I would have said for it, but I didn't have the copies to hold up because I unhauled them. Okay, next prompt is shop at a farmer's market. For this one, I said The Recipe Club, a novel about food and friendship by Andrea Israel and Nancy Garfinkel. I loved this book and I never see like anybody talking about it. It is like a backlist, like older book. But it's about these two women that like there's actual recipes inside, which I like, and it's told in letter format. So they're writing letters back and forth and like sharing these recipes and stuff. So yay. I loved that one because, you know, you shop for food at the farmer's market to make stuff.
Yeah. I love that. I did Charlotte's Web.
Oh, I like that
Because
copy.
I
Love that.
know. It's like one
That's
of
so
my
cute.
favorite classics too. Like I don't like a lot of classics, mostly they're children's classics. And I was just thinking they don't really go to farmer's market. It's like a fair, but
But it
it's on
is
a farm.
yeah, but it's on a farm.
And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know. It's just so cute. I was like, I had to use, I don't know. It's just the first thing I thought of. So
Yeah, that's
Charlotte's Web.
perfect.
So good.
I went with Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult. I just have the Kindle version. I don't have the physical copy, but she's a beekeeper and she sells honey at the farmer's market.
Nice. All right. What about Spring Clean Your House? For this one, I chose How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix because it's about the main character and her brother cleaning out, I think it's her dad's house or her parents' house, actually, her parents' house. And yeah, so they're cleaning the house of more than just their stuff, of maybe creepy dolls too. Who knows? All right, Keisha.
For that one,
It's fine.
sorry.
Nope.
Either one.
Okay. I picked The Housemaid by Frida McFadden because obviously,
Very
Housemaid.
fitting.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one I'll have to explain. So I picked Poison for Breakfast by Lemony Snicket, and this is actually the reason that I reread this book too, because I saw it and I'm like, I was thinking of books to fit, and I was like, I feel like this would, but I've got to figure out how. So essentially, this is a book about Lemony Snicket, who that's not the author's real name in case you didn't know, but it's about him, and he wakes up one morning and he has breakfast, and he finds this after he eats his breakfast, he finds a note on the floor that says, you just had poison for breakfast. And so when you clean, you kind of like meticulously go through your house and there are all these steps to cleaning. This is a very poor answer. I just wanted to use this book, but he literally, instead of like, you'd think somebody would eat poison for breakfast and then realize it and then go to the hospital. He's going to go and track down everything he ate for breakfast and figure out what had poison in it. And so he's like a very meticulous step by step of how he finds out. And so, like, I don't know. That's kind of a poor answer, but I wanted to use the book because it was a really interesting. It's like a stream of consciousness book, and it was just really good. So,
Home Before Dark. And then just enjoyed that one. All right, we have two more, and then we'll move on to our next game. Next one is Road Trip, and I chose a book that actually has a road trip in it. It's The Romantic Pact by Megan Quinn, and this is about two characters that go on this road trip in Germany. Yeah, in Germany, and it's fun. It's fairly short. It's a little romance, and I enjoyed it.
Mine, this is my favorite. This is Keeping Lucy
Oh,
by
I
T.
still
Greenwood.
need to read that book.
Everybody needs to read this. If you have not read it, you need to. But this is about a woman whose daughter has Down syndrome, and against her will, her daughter is taken to an institution. And she basically goes and breaks her child out of this institution and goes on the run with her. And so they take this road trip from like New England all the way down to Florida with her daughter and her son and her best friend, like all four of them. And it's set in the late 60s. And so they just do this whole road trip. And so the whole book, you're kind of following them down the East Coast.
Okay,
It's really good.
Nice.
Okay, it's funny because Jesse thinks I'm gonna say a book, but I didn't pick that because it was Christmas and I was thinking spring. But then you put a Christmas book, and I was like, dang, I could have used it. So I didn't use a road trip book. I just used a book with a car.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
But I
Good book.
love After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's basically just, as a married woman, this was a very insightful and interesting book to read because it's about this married couple who decides like they've kind of lost the spark and they're sorry, my husband's coming in and I'm trying to keep him off camera. um they decide to take a year off marriage because they are, kind of, they don't want to end it, but they don't really feel that spark anymore. And they want to see if somehow, if taking a year off, they could fall back in love. And so they only have one rule, and it's that they can't contact each other over this whole year. And it sounds like I was so scared of this book before I read it because I'm like, I don't like that idea of like leaving for a year, but I'm like, it's got to be good. Like everybody says this is good, and it's Taylor Jenkins Reid. And when I finished this book, I literally ran into my bedroom and like hugged Will and was just like, I love you so much. I was sobbing. Like it just gave me such an appreciation for him and for our marriage. And so, like, don't let the synopsis deter you because there's so much more to it than just that. It's so good.
Yeah. And then Summer, of course, had a good one, Survive the Night.
Good one.
And then Jess recommends The Remains of the Day by 𝒂𝒂𝒔𝒕, which I wrote that down. That's what I was doing over there because I have read one book by that author. I'd like to read more. The Wilder Women by, I don't know about this author though, because I've read, what was it called? It's the one that has like the blue cover and stars, Beasts of something. I did not like it. So I would be scared to pick up another book by that author. Just saying, Brandon. Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstances. Is that it? If I just pulled that out of my, where, that's amazing and I deserve a cookie. But okay, our last spring bucket list item is Buy Fresh Flowers. And I went What You Wish For by Catherine Center because of all of the flowers on the cover. That's the only reason.
I love it. Oh, I'll go.
I did.
Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so used to going this way. I'm sorry. I also picked a book with flowers, and this is like one of my favorite books of all time, so I had to pick The Good Sister, obviously.
Nice.
Book with flowers on the cover.
That's a beautiful cover.
By. I haven't actually read this book yet. It was a cover by. I literally saw it and was like,
Pretty.
Yes.
Yes, that is the answer. Well, that was super fun. Okay, next game is a pixelated book cover game that I created. So basically I took books that released this month in May. It's only books that released in May. And I pixelated the book covers, and then you're going to try to guess. This was a good answer to that. This was okay. So pixelated book covers, the book released in May. And we'll see how you guys do. But let me bring it up first. Y'all are going to get some, let me see.
And the time it took us to do that game, Jovi annihilated a toy.
Oh, goodness.
Lap. So now I have to clean that up.
Okay, let me share the first one. So you can shout it out if you know it.
The Love Equation by Christina Lauren. Whatever. Yeah.
True Love Experiment.
True Love Experiment. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the answer is The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. Wow, y'all got that one. I think these are pretty easy because I was like, I'm only doing May releases. So hopefully, All right. Next one.
Oh, Yellow Face.
Woo! It's so close.
R.F. Kuang.
Yes. All right. Wow. Okay, next one.
Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams.
Woo! That's right. I want to read this one so bad. This would also be a good one for picking flowers or fresh flowers or whatever. I love this cover so much.
Oh, he has some nice tattoos on his arm. Okay.
Yes,
Mhm.
he does. Okay, let's see. Next one.
The Half
The
Moon.
half moon.
What's the author's name?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Oh my goodness.
Wait.
That would have been a
Half
tiebreaker.
Oh crap. Something Keen. Keen is the last name. I know
Yes, by Mary Beth Keane.
that. Okay.
Yeah, I do love this cover so much, you
Yeah.
guys. Why did the book
Mhm.
stink? Ah. Okay, next one.
Meet me at the lake by Carly
oh.
Fortune.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like in it to win it.
I love this so much.
Mine was like, let me
Oh
get a
my
drink.
goodness.
I need more wine for this.
Okay. All right. Next one.
Oh, the something All Stars. The Chain Gang All Stars.
Yes, Chain Gang
I don't even know what
All
that is.
Stars.
Yeah, don't ask me to pronounce that author.
Yeah, I was like, I can't ask him because I don't think I can say it. Okay.
The Ferryman by Justin Cronin.
Yep.
She's coming back now.
I know she had that sip of wine. Okay.
I know I've seen that, but I have no idea what it says.
Oh, yeah, I know I've seen that one too. I've seen it on TikTok. That's where I've seen it.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
Don't know it. Okay. I'll
It's
just
that like comic book style, kind of like Love in the Time of Serial Killers, right? No. Oh, I was thinking of the romance. What was I thinking of? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Rom-com?
Oh, you're thinking about the
The
romantic.
rom-com.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Romantic
Comedy or
comedy.
something.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought
they
it
have
was.
similar.
It's the
Okay.
same colors. I don't know that one.
What the heck? There's so many colors.
Okay, this is a thriller.
Oh, is this?
I don't know.
The Liv Constantine,
Yep.
the senator's wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to be hard.
Those colors
Okay.
threw me off. Ooh.
Yeah. Okay. That was that. So was that fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was harder than I
awesome.
thought it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last game, and then we'll get into a few actual, like a little bit more in-depth reviews. Not for all of the books, but a couple books, is a bookshelf scavenger hunt. So I have a list of things that I'm going to have you guys hunt for. Keisha is like right there by her books.
I'm here,
Lena.
unless they're going to be in the other room, but I'm like, I got them all right here.
I got a bookshelf over there, bookshelf over there. I'm good. I'm like
Okay,
4
good.
And
steps
I
away.
am going to keep track of who wins this one.
When Mark gets to go, I'm just kidding.
I was tabbed out for the other one, so I really couldn't. I feel like it was even. Y'all were both getting different ones. So, but for this one, I'll try to keep track. How many did I did? 1, 2.
Don't worry, I'll watch the recording back later and keep track of the points to see who
Okay,
actually won.
and
just
you'll
'cause I wanna
post it
know.
on Instagram. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the first one is: can you find a book with deckled edges? Go.
Go. Wait, this one.
Wow.
7 Deaths of Evelyn Harkin.
Wow. Y'all both, but Keisha got it first, but y'all both had it. So, all right, but I'm going to give
Okay,
don't
I should get a
break anything.
handicap because I have to walk 2 steps either
Well, you
direction.
should have put your camera by your books.
But see, they're in 2 different places.
Oh.
My hardcover books are over there. My paperbacks are over there.
I gotcha.
You cannot use a book that you read this month for this next one.
Okay.
Okay. Cannot use a book that you read this month.
Okay, I'm standing up for this.
Can you find a book that you read more than once? Go.
Oh. Go! The Garcia
No, Lena got it.
Yes! Boom! 7 times.
Wow, that was like, it was like milliseconds, y'all. It was milliseconds.
We're serious about these games.
Okay, so can you find a book that has been made into a movie? Go.
Giver.
Yes, Lena. Lena got it.
Oh, I had this one, but I was like, I can't use the same book.
Oh,
She didn't say that. She didn't.
I know, but I just like.
She didn't say that.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, next one. This should be easy. Can you find a book by your favorite author?
Can
Sally
I use the
Hepworth.
giver again?
Keisha got it. Okay, next one. Can you find a book that has pictures? A book, not a graphic novel, that has pictures or illustrations. Go.
The
What?
Clackety.
No.
Wait. It has them, but it's the Clackety. I promise I can prove it. Do I have to show you?
Yeah, there you go. Keisha got it.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not. There's no way I'm gonna win that one.
All right. Can you find a book that has a title with more than 5 words? Go.
How to Sell a
Municipal
Haunted
Life
House.
of Addie LaRue.
Man, I wish I could replay because I feel like Lena held it up first, but you said it first. So I'm giving it to both of you. All
That'd be
right.
nice, Gwen.
Can you find a book or books? No, wait. Sorry. Can you find a book with a book or books on the cover? Go.
This one.
The Neighbor Favor.
Keisha got it. All right.
It was right there too. Oh gosh.
Next one. Can you find a book with the letters M-A-Y in the title or author? Go.
A Court of Mist and Fury, but it's in this box.
Okay. You got it.
And it's got an M-A-Y.
Very good.
Oh gosh, that's heavy.
Keisha, like, I'm taking the whole thing off.
Well, it's hard to get them out of the box.
Okay. Next one. Can you find a book with less than 300 pages? Go.
Big Fish. Yeah.
Where'd the giver go?
180.
All right. Keisha
The
got it.
giver.
Lena done threw the giver across her house. Okay. Can you find a book that has a red title, like the font is red?
The font is red. The Neighbor Favor.
Yep. Okay. Next one. Can you find 2 books by the same author? Go.
Sally Hepworth.
Yeah. I'm giving it to both of you guys.
I scratched my finger. It was right there. Gosh.
I just love this so much. Okay.
Battle
Whew.
scars.
I'm getting worked up and I'm just sitting here, y'all. Okay. Can you find a book that has a prologue?
It has a prologue. What? I don't know. Come on. How do I know?
Yep, Silent Patient.
All right.
Alexander. Oh.
Okay. Can you find a book with a face on the cover?
Secret Garden of 81st Street.
All right. Can you find a book with flowers on the cover?
The Good Sister.
Wow.
I'm literally throwing books here.
They're all over my floor.
Okay. Next one. Can you find we have 2 more to go. So y'all are almost done. Can you find a book written by more than one author?
Ah! Triple!
Christina, look, dang it!
Triple! I should get extra points because it's 3.
Whew.
Oh my gosh, y'all are gonna break nails. Bust knees. Okay, last one. It can't be a book you read this month.
Okay.
A purple book.
Purple
A Court
book.
of Wings and Ruin. Is that purple?
The Help!
That's kind of pink. Never mind. She wins because that's kind of
Okay.
pink.
You're like, she wins. Wow, that was intense. Keisha, you won.
I was like, I scratched my finger. Then this bone, I was like, I'm on tile floor. No, good. My battle wounds are.
There's like 7 books on my floor. Hang on.
I can't imagine playing like a game, like another, like in real life with Lena, because I feel like we're both competitive. We'd be like,
I'm so competitive.
Yes,
that would be fun.
I love it so much. Okay, everybody, take a deep breath.
That's fun.
I love it so much.
I'm dropping books.
Oh, dang. I didn't even think about that.
Okay, now to come down off of that, I have to do that again because that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to do some book reviews. But before we get into that, because that will be our last little thing that we do, are there any fun bookish events that you will be participating in June? Lena? Fun bookish events.
Well, my heart comes down to a normal sinus rhythm. I'll be recording the podcast episode for the 𝒂𝒊𝒏𝒅, wherever it went. It's somewhere in this mess of books and on my floor.
Yes, here I have it.
For the Talk Bookish to Me podcast. So definitely tune into that on June 19th. I'm participating in the Dystopian Readathon, and then I'll also be participating in Jesse's book club, the Sleep When I Dead book club. I think we're doing, what is it called? The Only Survivors?
Yeah, by Megan Miranda.
Yeah, by Megan Miranda. Yep. I think that's all I'm planning on participating in June.
Okay, do you have any fun videos that you have planned for June, or are you just going to wing it?
Yeah, probably just going to wing it. Yeah, I have a video that's going to come out like before June, but I haven't really planned a whole lot in June. I'm hoping to do some like more reading vlogs, but yeah, I just kind of just wing it.
Love that. What about you, Keisha?
I'm going to be participating in / co-hosting Suns Out Books Out, which is going to be June 23rd through the 25th. And that is with me and Liv from Liv's Library, Elizabeth from Ponytails and Paperbacks, and Mackenzie from the Literary Lane, and basically just reading summer books. So that's the only thing that I can think of right now that I'm participating in. So
our episode for our podcast episode comes out on the 5th.
I forgot. That's exciting.
That's we recorded it like it's over, like we're done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have episodes with both of these ladies, separate days, of course. Keisha's comes out on June 5th, and then Lena's comes out on June 19th. So make sure you check out my podcast, Talk Bookish to Me, with more time with these ladies. Okay, for me, I'm hoping to read just like a lot of summary books, honestly. I'm always doing things over my podcast. I'm also going to start The Ferryman, which is my summer book club pick for the Night Owl Book Club, which is linked with my Patreon. So I'm really excited about that. And the discussion is at August 2nd for that. And then, so I'm going to start reading it now because it's like, is it like 600 pages or something like that? It's a big chunky one. But yeah, and then sends out books out, reading summer books. We'll see what vlogs I come out with. I'm just hoping to make it through the month, you know? Okay, now it is book review time. So, Lena, choose a book for me that I read that you would like me to review.
Okay, I would like for you to
I
know exactly what I'm going to pick.
Okay.
I would like you to review You Shouldn't Have Come Here, because I feel like that was the most polarizing book that we all read.
Yeah, okay, let me get it out. Okay, here it is. So You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. So just starters, love the cover, hate how stiff this book is. Like this whole, the whole pages, this is the stiffest pages I was struggling to read this, but okay, so when I initially started it, I didn't really know too much about it, honestly. I kind of like to go into thrillers pretty much blind without knowing a lot, but it's basically about this woman that goes to an Airbnb and crazy things happen. That's all you really need to know going in. So she, at the beginning of the novel, there's just like red flag after red flag after red flag. And if you go to the Sleep When I'm Dead Discord, you will see that I was keeping track of all the red flags. I'm like, red flag number 1, this, red flag number 2, this, because like it's a single woman going to this Airbnb. There's a guy, she's like staying inside the house with him, and there was just weird things. Like there was a crap, like there was like some type of skims or something like left in one of the drawers, and he's like, oh, that's my ex-girlfriend's. There was like a crack in the window, there was a lock on the basement door, there was just like all of these things that I was like, no girl, pack your bags, let's go, get out of there, you're not safe type thing, you know. And then as the story continued, it's set in like this small town in Wyoming, so the neighbors and the people of the town are weird, and I also wasn't really trying to figure out like where it was going or what was going on. I was just like, this dude is creepy, the woman is not safe, why are things happening like this? And the whole time I had no idea where the story was going. Like I said, I wasn't trying to figure it out. And then by the end, as things started to come together, it was the ending that really like changed my mind about the book overall. And I really enjoyed it and gave it 5 stars. I would also read a sequel, just saying. All right. Which book would you like me to review?
I think you're muted, Keisha.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay.
Jovi's playing with a toy, and so I didn't want that to be distracting. Paradise Club.
Paradise Club. Paradise Club.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me find it first. Okay. So this one, I don't know if I should really talk about the one thing, but I'm going to talk about it. So if you don't want to know anything about this book, like, because I am going to talk about something that like I didn't know until the end of the book, but it's not necessarily about the plot of the book itself. It's about something else. So if you don't want to hear me spoil that, then just like mute me until I put the book down. Okay, but I'm going to talk about the book real quick first. So this is basically, I picked it up because it's a slasher, and I'm trying to read some more like horror slasher books because I'm doing an episode for my podcast, Summer Slashers. And so this is like an indie published summer slasher. So I like, you know, reading indie horror books almost more than traditionally published books sometimes. But it starts off with a whole bunch of guests arriving at this exclusive resort. And the one guy that you're following a lot of people. You're following like guests, people that work there, and people that are like behind the scenes of this event. But I kind of feel like the Harper family is like the main characters, and they go to this resort, and he is a FBI family man and FBI agent. And he kind of stumbles across something like pretty much as soon as they arrive, you have to turn in your cell phone because they don't want you to have like internet access, able to share anything about this exclusive resort because it's on an island. So everybody has to surrender their cell phones. He ends up running into something that he shouldn't have seen. And then all of a sudden he hears about this event that is going to take place called the Skirmish. And he's like, what is this? What's going on? He's trying to find out more details, but it's an event that, of course, was not on the brochure. It's about all of these killers being on this island, and they're to wipe everybody on the island out. So that's basically the setup. Now, that's the first like 80% kind of the vibes. It definitely changed in the last part, and I didn't really like the direction that the story went after that. But there's a reason why I think it went that way, and I still rated it 4 stars. So now I'm going to talk about the little spoilery bit about not the story itself, but the origin story of the actual book for people that are interested. Okay, so the author has a Patreon, and as part of his Patreon, he wanted to do a serialized novel on the platform. And he thought it would be a nice perk to offer to his patrons. And so basically, when you signed up at a certain level on his Patreon, you could vote on the outcome of the story. So the idea was to create a bunch of characters, throw them into a crazy scenario, and allow his patrons to vote on the actions. Whatever the majority ruled was exactly what I wrote. He says, now he was the one that came up with like the options, but his patrons voted what direction the story went. So it was kind of like a choose your own adventure type
That's so
novel.
neat.
And so, it says, think of it as a choose your own adventure for the hive mind. It was actually kind of fun to see what people chose. Some were predictable, some surprised me. All in all, it was a fun experiment, and I'm glad I took the chance on the story. The results were pure bloody fun. As for Paradise Club itself, I hope you enjoyed your stay. So I really did like that, even though he had many ways that the story could have gone. So I'm wondering how he would have written the ending, like what the other options were, because I feel like the first part of the novel was like one way, and then the ending was like this totally weird, bizarro way. So, but for that reason, him publishing exactly what his patron said, and he wasn't planning on publishing it, of course, but later he decided to. So, yeah, I rated it 4 star. I mean, it's a 3-star read for me because I really liked the first part. I didn't like the second half, but then when I got to that, it was like, here's the origin story behind it. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's cool. That's 4 stars. So, okay. Now we get to pick for Lena.
Okay, let's see.
Let me see which book I want Lena to review.
I want to hear about the rumination book.
That's the one I was going to choose.
The rumination book?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me find it on my Goodreads. It's actually funny because out of the 2 like books about that I read, I liked Rumination less.
Oh.
But I recommend it to people. I would recommend it. So just to remind everybody, this is Rumination, Learn to Overcome Destructive Thoughts and Start Thinking Positively. And this is on Kindle Unlimited, and it was a pretty quick read, and it did a good job of kind of first of all, it defined what rumination is, which is basically like the cyclical thoughts, like thoughts that come into your brain and you just really can't stop thinking about them. And it just kind of starts like enmeshing itself into your daily life. And you really just start, and sometimes it can lead to like thinking about kind of ridiculous other things that you're like, it can kind of go into different patterns and different weaves, and it can really become really destructive. And so it defines what rumination is, and it talks about kind of how it manifests itself, what it looks like. And then it also gave some like kind of real life application for how to, kind of stop that pattern, or how to kind of look at those thoughts as just that, thoughts, and how you don't have to kind of give any truth to them. Sometimes your brain just kind of does things, and you can kind of say like, okay, I have this thought, but it doesn't have to mean anything about me, or who I am as a person, or the things I believe, or the things that I do. And while I thought it was kind of surface level, it was really good. I think it would be really good for somebody who is trying to understand what rumination is, or understand somebody who suffers from cyclical thoughts and cyclical thought patterns. But it didn't really go as deep as I wished it would. The other book that I read did go a lot deeper, and it went kind of beyond the, sit down and take deep breaths type of thing. So
Yeah.
for somebody who's very new to trying to learn about rumination, this would be really great. But if you have been studying rumination or been in therapy talking about rumination, then this is kind of, it was nothing that I hadn't heard before.
Okay. All right. I'm going to have you, I was going to do the other one, but it sounded like you like that other one better. What about 100 Summers?
So I do this to myself 100 Summers is probably on the floor at this point. It is 100 Summers by Beatrice Williams. I do this to myself. I saw this book in a little free library, and I picked it up because I knew that we were reading the Beatrice Williams book, the 3 W's, for the podcast. So I picked this up and I was like, oh, this will be good because I can kind of do like an author taste test. And I didn't even really read the synopsis. I just kind of like, after I finished the other book, I was like, let me read this one. I'm kind of on this historical fiction high right now. And I love Rhode Island, and I love the atmosphere of Rhode Island. But this is a second chance love triangle.
Oh, and you don't
And
like
if you
that.
know anything about me, those are two tropes that I hate. And so it follows a woman who lives in Seaview, Rhode Island, and she has been there her whole life. And she kind of watched all of her friends get married and move on. And so one summer, her former boyfriend, Nick, comes back and he has married her friend, Budgie, which weird name. But so Budgie and Nick are married, and Budgie is kind of like throwing him in her face. Like, look, I married your boyfriend.
That's
And
kind
she
of
wasn't
rude.
allowed to, yeah. And she wasn't allowed to marry Nick because he is Jewish. And this is in the 1930s. So Jews did not have a very good like representation in Rhode Island. So she wasn't allowed to marry him, so he married her friend. And now they're back, and he's kind of like starting things up with her while he's married to her friend. And so I don't know. I'm
Sounds
not really
messy.
into that trope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's kind of this weird love triangle. And if it were just them as adults, it would be fine. But we have a timeline of them as adults and them in college. And the college timeline kind of took over. So it kind of became this coming of age story. And I also am not a huge fan of that. So
Okay.
I am not the right audience for this book, but I did give it 3 stars because I like Beatrice Williams' writing style. I like her atmosphere. I like
What was
her
the
character
time
development.
period of that one?
1938.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So,
Okay.
I mean, if you like second chance romance, if you like love triangles, then I would say pick it up. But it's a good book if you're into those things. But
Jesse says the Real Housewives of 1930s Rhode Island.
yeah, it really is.
Oh my goodness, that is what it sounds like. Okay, well, moving on from that, it's time for Keisha to review some books. What would you like her to review? Oh, did I choose? Yeah, okay.
Let's see. I think I want to hear about 𝒑𝒏𝒏𝒅, because I don't think I've heard anything about that. And I feel like I've heard you talk about the others in like blogs and stuff, but
Yeah.
that was a new edition, right?
Yeah, so I just finished this one like yesterday, I think. But I actually heard about it from Rachel from Happy Go Lovely Sleeves. She read it. But basically it's so What's Up Beanie is a more comic than graphic novel. It's not like a full-length story. It's just snippets, kind of like how Debbie Tongue does her graphic novels like Book Love and I can't
The
remember the other.
introvert one and the marriage
Yeah.
one, and
Yeah, kind of like those. But this follows Beanie, who is this is inspired by like the author. And it starts out where you see her as an adult and her like baby Beanie, younger self, which that's baby Beanie and that's adult Beanie. She comes into the picture and asks like, "How's our life now?" and stuff. And so she starts to reminisce on memories from her childhood and then from her teen years, and then talks about stuff now. So it's just seeing basically like relatable content from her life that we can also relate with too. So that's basically, I mean, that's really short, sweet, and simple. I gave it 3 stars because I thought it was good, but it wasn't anything like, I mean, it's hard to rate. I almost don't want to rate it because it's one of those like coffee table books. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't, like, I think it's good, but I just didn't, I don't know. I wouldn't want to rate it, but if I did, I'd give it a 3. And it was good. And I think most people would probably enjoy it because it's got relatable content. But yeah, it's like a comic book type thing.
okay, now it's time for me to choose a book. I feel like I know how you feel about all these
I
books.
know.
Keisha and I talk every day, y'all. So
Yeah.
but I want to hear how your reread of Love and Other Words went.
Oh, why'd you do that?
Because I love you.
You did that because you want me to spill the tea. Well, I feel like I have to.
Yeah, you
I'll
can do them
be
together.
brief. Okay,
Yeah.
so I read Love and Other Words when I like was first getting back into reading and first started like my Bookstagram and BookTube. It was like one of the first romances I read. I had read one in high school, but like overall, I had not read a lot. And so I read this in 2019, I think, because it came out in 2018. So I think it was 2019 when I read this, and I absolutely loved it. So it follows Macy and Elliot. It is a childhood friends to lovers second chance romance that is centered around books and words, but it also has some hard hitting elements. So I feel like, I don't know, like I'm hesitant to say this because I know it's like a bold thing to compare stuff to Emily Henry, but I feel like Emily Henry has like the extra stuff, and this also has like extra elements too, other than just the romance that come into play. But um, it's it was like one of my favorite books I've ever read. Like I own 2 copies of it now. I own this one and then like the new pretty edition because I think this one's prettier. But um, and I annotated this one when I went back through it and read it, but I reread it because I read Every Summer After. And these 2 books, as somebody who's read both of these, I will confirm they have very similar stories. They are both second chance romance, childhood friends to lovers. I would say Every Summer After is a little bit more fast paced than Love in Other Words, and Every Summer After has more like, for me, cutesy, bantery moments. And this one is more of a serious tone. I felt like Every Summer After showed me the romance, but 11 Other Words told me about it, but I didn't feel the connection as much as I did in this one, which is saying something because I read this and loved this first and was determined that this is going to still remain my favorite. And then I read it after because I just had to know. And reading them back to back, you really do see how similar they are. And it's just kind of crazy to me how they wrote such, I mean, they're not the same exact settings, but the girls go to vacation homes, they meet these guys there. They both like, in this book the girl loves horror movies and horror books and is a writer. In this book the girl loves books and reads, like they, but like, so they're very, very similar. So upon initial read, I had given Love in Other Words like 4.5 stars. And the reason back then that I gave it 4.5 instead of a 5 is because I did not read smut and it really bothered me. So I had to drop it because I was like, ew, I don't want to read those words. But now I've
And
read
now you're like,
Verity.
boards or I don't want it.
So yeah, so I was like, maybe I'll like it more. But, and I don't know why, because I feel like this ending is more justifiable than this ending, but I liked this more. Like I was more mad in this one, but it makes sense for me to be more mad in this one. I don't know what's wrong with my brain, but as of right now, Keisha, this was a 4.5 and I dropped this to a 4. So I do like Every Summer After more, but I still really like this book and I get why people like it. But I like the writing in Carly Fortune's book better, and the way that, like, for 90% of the story, I was like so excited. And the end is messy, but the end is still, I mean, I still liked it. And this one, I just felt like I was trudging through a little bit more upon reread. But I don't, oh my gosh, y'all in these headboards, but I don't think I should reread books because I'm not having good luck with it. Because Guernsey, I didn't like as much upon reread.
I'm
And then,
wondering though if you're going too far back. If you're going to like the
well,
beginning of your, like when
maybe.
you just got into reading, like Guernsey was like pretty much one of the
Mhm.
first books. Love in Other Words was like one of the first books. But I figure if you
I
read
don't
books,
know.
like maybe not even your favorite last year, but a favorite from the year before, I think you would have more
Yeah.
success.
Well, like Poison for Breakfast was also a reread, but I gave it the same rating. It's a 3. It's good, but I like it enough to keep it. It's like a really high 3. And I really like that one. And I read that one a couple years ago because I got an ARC 2021. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's a couple years. But see, it makes me mad though because I want to reread The Last Time I Lied and The Silent Patient, and because I read those early on too, and I love those. But I'm like, oh gosh, now I can't because, like, what if
I
I
think
hate
The
him?
Silent Patient you would like just as much.
I hope
I
so
don't know
because
though,
that's like my
because like
favorite.
the ending though, like that shocking part in the book,
Yeah,
like once you know, is it gonna have the same effect? That's why I typically don't reread
yeah.
thrillers.
But I'd like to see like what I didn't see before, like leading up to if I
Yeah.
catch anything that I didn't. But I mean, obviously, it won't have the same initial shock impact. But I don't know. We'll see if I ever reread them. But I'm definitely more scared too after rereading some
I'm
books
so
this year.
sorry.
It's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
I'm a
Well,
different reader now than I was. So,
exactly. I feel
mhm.
like we have different life experiences. You read different things, so you end up liking more, and it just shapes us. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. But anyway, thank you, ladies, so much for joining me. Thank you for going crazy with all your books, scratching yourself, books all over the house, things like that. That was super fun. Don't forget, I'm not going to be here back for a reading wrap up live show until the end of August. And you can find these ladies' channels and Instagrams in the description box. Also, if you want to join me for one of these live shows, there's a link in the description. It takes like 2 minutes to fill out. It's just so I can contact you and be like, are you available this month? I'm not like gathering your data or anything, but that's all for me. Such a fun live show. This was so fun. This was amazing. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. Check out their channels. They'll do their own content. Look forward to all the stuff that we talked about in June, and we'll see you guys another one. All right, bye.